Welcome to this episode of Best of America by Horseback. I'm Tom C. with Kristen Bisco. On this episode, we're in Texas at the Priefert Manufacturing Company. They're known worldwide as the best manufacturer of farm, ranch, and rodeo equipment.
We're going to meet the Priefert family and ride on their 3,000-acre ranch in Mount Pleasant, Texas, where the company began over 50 years ago with the invention of one product.
They are cattle and horse owners, just like us. They work every day designing and manufacturing quality livestock handling equipment that makes their life a whole lot easier, and it keeps their animals a whole lot safer.
They make some of the safest horse handling equipment in the world.
We'll take you through the factory. It's absolutely amazing, and we'll show you how they make the products. They also design and make some of the machines that create these products.
These are some pretty smart guys and some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. They are just as down to earth as you and I. Bill Priefert will be the first to tell you we are farmers, and that is where he loves spending most of the time with his sons and grandchildren.
The Priefert family are some of the best people you'll ever want to meet. They're devout, they're devoted to their employees, and they're devoted to the people who buy their equipment. They're also now in their third generation building the equipment that is so important to horse and cattle owners. We're going to be visiting with some of the best of America, the Priefert family. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
On this episode of Best of America by Horseback, we are in Mount Pleasant, Texas, at the Priefert Ranch and Manufacturing Company. Anyone who has ever been to a rodeo or their local farm and ranch store knows the name Priefert, but you may not know the family behind that famous name, or how it all started over 50 years ago. Tom and Kristen will introduce you to Bill Priefert, along with his sons Ed, Nate, and Travis, who are carrying on the Priefert legacy started by Bill's father Marvin. Marvin invented the first gliding action, fully opening steel headgate for working cattle, right here on this farm in his one-room dirt floor shop. He also manufactured, marketed, and sold them himself, starting what would become one of the largest farm, ranch, and rodeo equipment manufacturing companies in the world today. Manufacturing a full line of equine products, they make some of the safest horse handling equipment in the industry. We will look at some of their equine products and see how they are made in their factory, which is a little larger than where it all started in Marvin's one-room backyard shop. We'll ride on the 3,000-acre ranch where Bill grew up and raised his three sons, where together they continue to grow the business Marvin started on integrity, quality, and reliability. 20 years after Marvin invented the steel headgate, he introduced another revolutionary advancement which would improve the use and safety of round pens for working cattle and horses.
Everybody's got to have a round pen, but they weren't always safe. What is it that makes your round pens safer?
That's our most important feature, is safety. We never built one like was being built before because they had round corners at the top. The end posts were separated 4 to 6 inches, and down about a foot from where the posts paralleled was the connector pin, and it was a sheared off sharp rod. So the horse or the cow will get on top of that with their front legs, and they'll go sideways. And when they get to the two bent corners coming together, it's a funnel. The leg drops in the funnel, and they can't get out and they can't get off. You can't get the pins out here, so what the normal person does in an emergency, they go to this panel and this panel, they unhook them and let it all fall and hope for the best.
So with a Priefert panel, that can't happen.
Can't happen. David Bynum and I, my brother-in-law, our sales manager, told Dad we want to start building panels, but we don't want this trap feature. And we want to connect to anything else. The next morning, Dad came out and threw a chain on his metal bench and said, there's your connector. We said, we were thinking to ourselves, how's that a connector? That's not going to work. He had it all designed. The end of the panel was 2 posts, but they weren't round. They were flat where they touched. And a curlicue we called a fish hook on top to make the corner stronger and safer. Because now we wrap the chain around one panel to another, or 1 to 3, 1 to 4. We don't need the posts, extra posts that get lost. We can connect to a barn door, anything that we want to connect to with that chain. And we went 4 inches taller, 64 inches. There's no space between, there's no sharp pin, there's no way that an animal can get a leg trapped at the connectors.
Another safety feature the Prieferts designed in their panels is the loop leg. While other panels use a half-moon design to keep them from sinking into the mud, they still often include a piece of straight leg that extends below. This causes the panel to stick into the ground. You have to completely pick up the panel to move it because it won't slide. Priefert's loop leg makes moving panels easy. They simply slide over the ground. This is also a safety feature. Should a horse or rider hit the panels will slide away from them, absorbing some of the impact. Another safety feature is the continuous stay-through drilled rails. The traditional Z-brace is welded onto the top and bottom rails, creating the opportunity for rough spots that could cut an animal or person. It also creates a dangerous snag point for tack that could lead to a wreck in a round pen or arena.
The Priefert panel design with continuous stays are smooth with no catch points or rough edges. Bill Priefert and his sons are farmers and ranchers. They use the equipment they design. Safety, quality, and efficiency are of the utmost importance in all of their product designs. When a product is made or changed, they test it by using it on their ranch in Mount Pleasant, Texas. Kristen toured the ranch by horseback with Travis and Nate. It covers over 3,000 acres adjacent to the manufacturing plant. They raise Brangus cattle, roping steers, and kids.
Bill, when I have some thinking to do, I usually go to what they call my field office. It's a tractor out in the field.
Right.
And I overheard last night most of the ideas that were behind the Priefert line of products came from the field, the farm, the ranch.
Sure. That's what we are as farmers.
The ranch is also kind of a therapy for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where I love to be. You can't know us without knowing the farm, the ranch.
When we come back, Nate and Travis will take Kristen for a ride on the ranch, and we will take a tour of the manufacturing plant to see how Priefert has grown to become the #1 name in farm, ranch, and rodeo equipment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Best of America by Horseback is in Mount Pleasant, Texas, at the Priefert Ranch and Manufacturing Company. When you enter the lobby of the Priefert plant, you will see the first headgate designed and built by Marvin Priefert in 1964. You will also see several machines painted bright blue, green, and yellow. These were also built by Marvin out of scrap tractor or implement parts from the junkyard. Out of those junk parts, Marvin built machines to bend and cut the pipe to make his headgates and other products. This is out of tractor parts, flywheel, gears.
Did y'all end up with any working tractors after you invented this stuff, or did y'all just...
No, he'd go to the junkyard and get the parts. He rearranged them and put an electric motor to it. Right here, it'll punch holes. You just turn that block and change the punch. Here it'll cut rod, round rod. Here it'll cut 4-inch flat, 1/4 inch thick. Down here it'll cut angle iron. And wherever he found movement, two opposing movements, or he would make it bend or cut something. Today, Marvin's son Bill runs the company, along with his 3 sons, Ed, Nate, and Travis. Like Marvin, they still design and build many of the machines that make and move the products they manufacture today. What sets us apart is many, many things, but one of them is our automation. We do automated material handling that we design build and program ourselves in-house.
Priefert's renowned ingenuity can be seen throughout their plant. The automated storage and retrieval system Bill showed us allows them to maximize floor space and track their inventory, from small parts all the way up to welded products. As Bill grew the company, he wanted more control over the quality and cost of their products from start to finish.
Dad started looking at it saying, you know, we can cut cost if we don't buy this from someone else. Let's start putting our own tube mill in. We'll buy the slits. And then it wasn't long, instead of buying slits, we were buying the master coil and then slitting it ourselves. So we just kept backing into it even further, cutting the cost out.
See the master coil back there?
Yeah, it's coming off that reel.
Yeah, we're cutting it into narrower strips to the thousandth of an inch. Cutting the whole coil at one time. The knives are set up different widths for the size of steel we want. That's what we're going to make pipe or channel iron or angle iron out of. The width of that strip is the circumference of the pipe.
The slit coils are taken to the tube mills, where they are processed into tubing and then cut to length.
Where you see the heat there, the pipe is going through a copper coil. It's not contacting the copper coil. This is called induction welding. So as the pipe moves through, it's energized so that only the seam turns molten hot. And then the three rollers just beside it are pressing that molten steel together. It's induction welding.
There's the weld bead. You can feel it on the inside.
You can barely tell it's there on the outside. When we paint it, you can't find the seam.
That's pretty cool.
All the tubing starts out as round, but can be made into different shapes.
We make round, we make square, we make rectangle, we make oval, we make D. We actually design our own shape many times and then build the tooling to make our own shape. Because we're going to design the product to be the strongest we can figure out. A lot of times that engineering has to do with the shape of the tube for the specific product.
After the tubes are made, they are stored in one of Priefert's bridge crane storage bays until they are called for by one of their welding stations.
We have designed the whole system, we've built the whole system, and our own people have programmed it all. The computers in the office are telling the bridge cranes what and when to bring out, and it's telling the computers on the forklifts what's coming out, where to pick it up, and where to take it.
The welding stations are where the products start to take shape.
Behind us here, there is manual welding. A lot of our welding is still done this way, where the welder puts the parts in the jig, lays them out, and does the welding. He does the inspection and he unloads.
When you and your dad were first developing stuff, who did the welding?
Dad, at first, then he trained me. Dad and I both built thousands and thousands of those solar head gates ourselves.
Besides the individual welding stations, Priefert has welding carousels where employees work as a team, assembly line style, to assemble and weld gates and panels. For their highest volume items, Priefert has several welding robots to increase speed and efficiency without compromising on quality. Once again, these welding robots are designed, built, and programmed by Priefert in-house. Priefert has best powder-coated products in the industry. Their powder coat goes on electrostatically and is also sprayed by hand in all the corners going in and out of the powder coating booths. The powder coat is then baked on and checked for quality. Large products are dip painted for better coverage. They only use their Priefert blue for the dipped products, which is their signature color. Priefert's products are built by ranchers for ranchers. Their equine division manufactures quality horse equipment from horse-safe panels and gates, round pens, horse walkers, horse feeders, water tanks, and horse stalls, to beautiful horse fencing. Priefert builds their products tough enough for cattle, yet safe enough for horses. When Best of America by Horseback returns, Kristen rides on the Priefert Ranch with Nate and Travis, the ranch where Priefert manufacturing got its start, and the Prieferts call home. Best of America by Horseback is in Mount Pleasant, Texas, at the Priefert Ranch. Bill Priefert grew up here and raised his 3 sons. The ranch is now home to their children, the 4th generation of Prieferts to grow up here.
Eddie, what was it like growing up here on the ranch with your brothers and your dad and your granddad?
My whole life I've been very blessed. So I've grown up on a ranch, lived on a ranch, always had a job. So working on the ranch, living on the ranch, when we weren't working, we had the bottoms to run, the ponds to swim in, the creeks to build forts and rope swings, you know. So you couldn't ask for a better life growing up.
When we were kids, this was all trees. We had horse trails cut all through here. We'd come down here and play hide and seek on horses on Sunday afternoons.
We had a friend, he thought he was an Indian. Yeah, he was always chasing us. He was like, I'm a tracker, I can find y'all anywhere. It was like,
Most of the time we'd find his horse somewhere.
we'd spend all day, he never would find us.
They surely had a blessed childhood growing up on the Priefert Ranch. Today, Bill Priefert, Ed, Nate, and Travis strive to return the blessings they receive. They employ 1,000 people, and the company is still growing.
I'm the proudest of our people. More than anything else, it's our people.
They contribute their success to their employees and blessings from God.
Bill, I want to ask you a question. What'd you do last night?
Why? Went to church.
That explains a lot of this, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nobody is capable of anything without God.
One of our blessings is the people we meet traveling around the country producing the TV show. We came to know Priefert many years ago through Byron Miller, a territory manager for Priefert Manufacturing who became friends over the years. He would always ask Tom when he was going to go to Texas to do a show on the Prieferts. They are good people, he would say. Tom always promised he would get down there one day. This show is a fulfillment of that promise to Byron, and to share this wonderful family he loves so much with you.
Hope you've enjoyed this episode of Best of America by Horseback. The insight into the Priefert family has been great. I love it. I hope you've enjoyed it as much. These people are the heart and soul of America. They don't come any better. American-made products by great, great people. If you want to follow us on future shows, maybe ride with us and find out where we're going to be, this is how you do it.
You can go to our website, bestofamericabyhorseback.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and on YouTube, Best of America by Horseback.
See you next week.